All right, let's talk about something that I think a lot of us, misunderstand and maybe even fear a little bit. The power of just being alone. I mean, we've all done it, right? You see someone by themselves at a cafe or a park, and you kind of assume something's wrong. But what if being alone isn't a problem we need to fix? What if it's actually a skill, a superpower even, that we can master? Let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, think about it. When was the last time you were actually in complete silence? Our days are just packed with noise. You've got notifications pinging, music, podcasts, conversations, and the very second it gets quiet, what's that immediate instinct? We grab our phone, we flick on the TV, anything just to fill that empty space. So the real question is, what are we actually running from?
And, well, there it is. That's really the heart of it all, isn't it? It's not the silence we're scared of, not really. What we're afraid of is what shows up in the silence. All those thoughts, those nagging questions, those feelings that we've gotten so good at pushing down all day, all week, maybe even for years.
Okay, so to really get this, we have got to clear up the biggest misconception out there. We have to draw a really clear line between two very, very different things: being alone and being lonely. Trust me, they are not the same thing at all. So let's break this down. Loneliness, that's an emotion. It's that awful sinking feeling of being disconnected. And the crazy part is, you can feel lonely in a room packed with people, right? It's that gap between the connection you want and the connection you have. But being alone, that's totally different. It's just a state. It's the simple fact that you're physically by yourself. And here's the key: it can be a conscious choice.
And that's where the magic happens. When you actually choose to be alone and you learn to find peace in it, you unlock something incredibly powerful. That's what we call solitude. See, it's not a punishment, it's a skill. It's the ability to just be with yourself, to be comfortable in your own skin without that feeling of loneliness creeping in. And honestly, it might be one of the most important skills any of us can learn.
All right, so let's say you decide to do it. You're going to give it a shot. You put the phone away, you turn everything off, and you just sit there. Well, this is it. This is where the real work starts. This is the moment you finally have to confront your own inner world. And look, let's be real here. At first, it's going to feel weird. It's unsettling. It's uncomfortable. Your brain, which is so used to running 1,000,000 miles an hour with distractions, suddenly has nowhere to go. It starts to churn. And all those thoughts you've been so good at ignoring, they start bubbling up to the surface. It's kind of like that one meeting you've been dreading has finally been called, and you're the only one invited. And all of a sudden, these huge questions just start firing off in your head. You start looking at your job, your habits, your relationships, and you have to ask yourself,
are these choices really mine? Is this thing I call happiness actually coming from me? Or am I just borrowing it from other people and what's going on around me?
And then, once you start to peel back all those layers of noise and what everyone else expects of you, you get to the biggest question of all: what really truly matters to me? Now, I know that whole process of questioning everything can feel, well, overwhelming. It's a lot. But, and this is a big but, if you can just stay with it, if you can push through that initial wave of discomfort without reaching for your phone, something amazing starts to happen. You actually start to find freedom.
and there's actually a roadmap for this. Think of it in 4 steps. Step 1, you just have to face that discomfort. Don't run from it. Step 2, you listen to what your mind is telling you, but, and this is key, without judging it. You're just an observer. The trick is to watch your thoughts go by, not get swept away by them. Then comes the really crucial part, step 3. You start to separate your own voice from all the other voices you've got in your head, from society, your parents, your friends. And that leads you to the final, most important step, discovering your own truth. And that's when you have this huge aha moment. It's like a light bulb goes off, and you start to see with total clarity that so many of the goals you were chasing, so much of the pressure you were under, the very person you were trying to be, none of it was actually yours to begin with. It was all just borrowed from the outside world.
Once you get that, everything starts to shift. Being alone stops feeling like a weakness, something you need to avoid at all costs. Instead, you start to see it for what it is, a quiet kind of strength. It becomes your way of building a really solid foundation, right from the inside out.
And hey, this isn't just some vague, fuzzy feeling. This stuff has real, tangible results. It completely changes the game when it comes to your relationships, where you find your happiness, and that constant need for everyone else's approval. Just think about your relationships for a second.
When you're genuinely okay with being alone, you stop holding on to connections that aren't good for you just because you're scared of being by yourself. You don't need someone else to feel whole. Instead, you choose to be with people because you truly enjoy them, and that's where you find those really deep, authentic, healthy connections.
And what about your happiness? Well, it stops being this fragile thing that can shatter based on what someone says or does. It becomes steady. It becomes reliable. Why? Because it's rooted inside you, not in the chaos of the world around you. You stop desperately chasing approval, and you can finally start focusing on what actually makes you feel fulfilled.
When it all comes down to it, this whole journey into solitude leads to the most powerful discovery you can make. That feeling of validation, of being whole, of finally being understood, the one you were maybe looking for in everyone else, yeah, it was inside you the whole time. And once you really truly get that, solitude stops feeling like emptiness. It starts to feel like peace. It becomes your own personal superpower. So really the only question left to ask is, what are you waiting to discover when things get quiet?